So the AP poll, they have Ohio State 1, followed by Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon at number 6, followed by Ole Miss, BYU, Texas Tech, Notre Dame, and then Oklahoma at 11, Virginia, Texas, Louisville, Vanderbilt, followed by Georgia Tech at number 16, Utah, Miami, Missouri, USC, and then some Big Ten there outside the top 20. You have Michigan at number 21, 22, Memphis, followed by Tennessee, UW, Washington at number 24, and Cincinnati barely hanging on there at number 25. Illinois received votes to be in this week. They did not get in, only 4 votes, but other Big Ten teams vying. I will pull up the voting for that really fast and get to that. But while I do that, Zach, what was your first reaction seeing the AP poll here?
I would love to understand how Texas is 2 spots below Oklahoma. I'd love to understand why Tennessee is ranked when their best win is against a team that lost to Bill Belichick for his first conference win. What are we doing? What, like Tennessee's 6-3, and they don't have a better resume than Illinois. Like, sorry, they don't. Get them out of there.
No, I mean, and they've not beat a single team with a winning record this season.
LOL. There's some
Illinois has beat multiple teams that are high up in their conference standings. Western Michigan at one point was top of the MAC. Duke right now, I believe, is tied for second in the ACC.
They went on the road to beat Duke by over 20 points, who just beat Clemson, which Clemson's not great. Though. Yeah, Clemson. Well, yeah, but everybody else is claiming Clemson as a good win. So listen.
You know who got just as many votes as Illinois to be in the AP poll, don't you?
Is it LSU?
LSU. They got 4 votes. They fired their coach, and there are still people voting to put them in the AP poll.
LSU is like a really good win.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah. I double checked. Iowa is at number 26. They were right outside of the top 25 there. So, yeah. I am pleased to see Washington get ranked. That needed to happen. I do find it comical that it happens on a bye week. Like we keep ranking these teams on a bye week. Like what did you not know that Washington didn't play? Right? Like, does nobody watch these games out west and they're just like, oh yeah, Washington, they're 6-2. They should probably be in there because we have to move out this team and that team and whatever. Like, it makes absolutely no sense to me that these teams are on a bye. They are getting ranked off of the bye when there are other teams winning. Like Iowa almost got ranked off the bye as well. Don't get me wrong; they should be ranked. What did they do to deserve to move in? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. These voters are not voting off who deserves what. Mm-hmm. They're just voting off of, well, what's this record? What's this look like here? As evidence of Tennessee, they're at number 23. Tennessee is not good this season. Joey Aguilar, there are people saying that Joey Aguilar is like a top 3 quarterback in all of college football. They're insane to think that. Joey Aguilar plays in a very nice quarterback-friendly system for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Josh Heupel has been in college football long enough. If you don't understand the kind of system that he runs that excels in, giving more yards and more touchdown passes to the quarterback, which again is the same thing with Brazel, the wide receiver there as well. Like it's a system, less about the players. It's more about the system. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Aguilar and Brazel. Like they're good players, but Joey Aguilar is not a top 3, top 5 quarterback in college football. Chris Brazel is not a top 3, top 5 wide receiver in college football. It's the system.
Don't tell that to Tennessee fans who are saying that Brazel is better than Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, we'll see. They also said Tennessee was better than Ohio State last year in the playoffs. So,
hey, they had their shirts off in 20-degree weather for warm-ups, man. They're tough.
Yeah. One thing I did find funny is SEC fans were licking their chops when they saw Indiana go down 3-0. They're like, oh, maybe we'll move them. Maybe Texas A&M will get above them.
Nope.
No, sorry.
No.
Going down 3-0 after the first drive of the game against Maryland is not nearly as bad as losing to Florida. Sorry, Alabama fans.
Oh, but Florida would be. I just listened to Todd McShay. Florida would be like 6-2 in the
Florida
Big
State,
Ten.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
What
But yeah,
Todd McShay say?
that Florida would be like 6-2 in the Big Ten, and I'm
Are
like,
we really
based
gonna
on
do this
what?
again?
Based on
Remember
what? They
when
lost to USF. Stop it. They lost
Josh
to.
Pate said that Arkansas a few years ago would win the Big Ten or Big Ten West?
People are dumb. I like Todd McShay. I like Josh Pate, but like, can we stop this nonsense, please?
I If I was just an Ohio State fan, I would like Todd McShay. But the fact that I am not just an Ohio State fan, that I'm also obviously rooting for the Big Ten as well, I cannot stand him. I think he is so hype up certain players, big brand teams. Like he
Mhm.
says some nice things about Indiana, but he just
Yep.
I don't think he's actually. No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. Can I bring up something, and this might be a good transition point to the CFP. Miami's going to get locked out of the ACC championship game, which means I don't think they get in. Like they're out
Yeah,
because
I mean it's going to be Louisville, Georgia Tech, or Virginia. Which, by the way, how is Virginia number 12? What in the world has Virginia shown that is better than Washington, Michigan, USC, Illinois? What in the world have they shown? They beat Cal on, barely. I sure it was on the road, but Cal stinks. Okay, they've gone to overtime like 5 times this season against bad ACC competition. They continue to live off a Florida State win early on, which was like, oh, Florida State's still a good team. Like the fact that we do not move these teams down because their wins that used to look impressive no longer look impressive is insane to me. It's one of the main reasons why you need to be ranking like the college football playoffs do with like at like week 10 because you have to see the full picture of what college football playoff or the college football landscape looks like. Do you know everything? No, of course not. But you know that Iowa is 10 times better than Virginia. If Iowa and Virginia played on the same field, Zach, I would win by 2 or 3 scores.
I don't disagree, but that kind of sounds like what we've been going against, which is another hypothetical SEC matchup. Just want
I
to be
mean,
careful there. Want to be
that's
careful.
fine. That's fine. But what have you the reason I get annoyed with the AC or the SEC hypotheticals is because they don't actually look at like how a team is played or anything. They're just like, oh yeah, Indiana can't beat Alabama, rah, rah, roll tide, rah, like that's all they say. They can't actually watch Indiana and tell you why Indiana would lose to Alabama because they couldn't. But if
Mhm.
they can't actually do that. Virginia Virginia is not a good football team. They do not put teams away. They do not have enough of a running game to be able to compete against good, strong run defenses. They do not have the lines of scrimmage,
But it may not matter. Like Virginia might win the ACC.
which is insane.
Yeah. But like that isn't that the beauty of the system though? Like we wanted playoff expansion so that teams like Virginia could get in.
Well, yeah, yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Like, if you win the ACC, you deserve to get in. It's just insane that they can win the ACC.
Well,
It's
but
not insane that they can get
you
in
know,
from winning it. It's just insane that the ACC is that bad. Like Clemson stinks, Florida State stinks, Miami cannot put teams away. Like
yeah,
it's just
they beat
it's
they
insane
did
at this
beat
point.
they did beat Louisville at Louisville. That's a good win. Their one loss is to NC State, which is not great.
Well, NC State just beat what's Georgia Tech?
Yeah, but yeah, NC State just beat Georgia Tech. They're over 500.
I just I just hate that like a team like Illinois is consistently getting dinged for losing big to the two best teams in the nation in Ohio State and Indiana, and then they lost big on the road to one of the best home teams in the country. They lose big, and everybody wants to point out, oh, the Illinois team, they suck, they're terrible. But the moment we talk about Virginia, playing too many bad teams close, it's like, well, you can't actually do that. I'm not saying you're
Yeah,
doing that. I'm saying
no,
other
no,
people
no.
are trying to say like, oh, well, you can't actually do that. It's like, bull crap, I can't. Why is nobody talking about Texas A&M only won 45-42 against Arkansas? They let Arkansas hang around that game the entire time. Why does nobody talk about Georgia just they have won 2 games this season based on favorable calls from the referees. And I get it. Like people say that about Ohio State, this season. And like Sure. Okay. There are definitely favorable calls that go for bigger brand teams in the country. Do I think that any of these calls have like given Ohio State the win? No, I don't think they've given the Ohio State the win. Would I be mad if I was the opponent? Yes, I would be mad if I was the opponent. Legitimately, there have been two games where you could argue the calls made in those games have given Georgia the win. Florida
Well,
and
yeah,
Auburn.
Georgia is, if they don't improve, they're going to get massacred by somebody at some point because that
Well,
defense is not good.
yeah, it's gonna be Notre Dame all over again.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I again, they're one of those teams that they have talent, and if they can put it together, they could be scary. But I've seen no evidence that they're going to put it together. They should have lost to Florida.
Yeah, and you picked that one.
That
You've been nails with the SEC picks. If they haven't been right, they've been very close,
I'm not
or
happy
arguably
about.
should have gone the other way. So
Yeah,
props on you.
yeah. Well,
Um,
I'm just adventurous. That's really
yeah,
what it is. But yeah, I just to your point, I understand what you're saying. And I think if we could boil it down, I feel like the issue is the SEC gets the benefit of the doubt, whereas nobody else does. And so it's frustrating even when non-SEC teams get the benefit of the doubt because teams like Michigan, Washington, Iowa, USC are not getting the benefit of the doubt. And it's frustrating because USC is right 7-2. They just beat a pretty decent team in Nebraska on the road. Why are they ranked behind Missouri? Why are they ranked behind Miami? Why
mm-hmm.
are they ranked behind Utah? Like, why are they like, they should be higher?
Everybody's talking about Tennessee. Everybody also needs to talk about Missouri. Missouri,
Missouri stinks.
they do
And
not have their
and
starting quarterback right now. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, that was my yeah. Preach. Go for
Okay.
it.
All right. Let me cook. All right. Missouri. Missouri does not have their starting quarterback right now. We want to give Oklahoma, this idea of like, well, if they don't have their starting quarterback or if John Mateer's injured, we're not going to ding them as much. Florida State literally missed the playoffs years ago because they did not have their starting quarterback. Why can we not say the same thing about Missouri, who probably would have beat Vanderbilt in that game if they would have had their starting quarterback? Their best win is at Auburn, South Carolina. Like, you kidding me? Auburn just fired their head coach. South Carolina should fire their head coach. I mean, at this point, he has too much talent on that team to be as bad as they are this season. Everybody wants to preach about Lenora Sellers and Dylan Stewart and everything else. Like, these are talented players, but it is the epitome of the SEC to have this much talent and not have a coach who is actually able to do anything with it because they don't have culture, they don't have good coaching, they don't have the ability to develop players like they do in the Big Ten. So Missouri at number 19 above USC. Tell me what Missouri has done this season that is more impressive than USC because they played Alabama close when they had their starting quarterback, because they only lost to Vanderbilt by one score after Diego Pavia couldn't throw the ball in that game and they lost their starting quarterback. But we don't want to give the same credit to Nebraska, who just lost this past game because they didn't have their starting quarterback. Like, and Nebraska, I'm not saying Nebraska should be ranked. They dug their grave when they lost to Minnesota. Like, that's on you. You
Yeah.
should not have lost to Minnesota in that way. I'm not trying to say Nebraska should be ranked, but I fail to see a big difference between teams like Missouri and Tennessee versus teams in the Big Ten like Nebraska and other ones. Yeah, Nebraska and other ones, sure, they may have lost to a team big, maybe on the scoreboard, but it doesn't change the fact that those teams still have better wins than Tennessee and Missouri. And what did we hear the entire time last year from SEC fans about Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina? Well, look at the wins. They have better wins than Indiana. They don't care about that now, do they?
I say Missouri. Missouri's best win is Kansas.
It's either Kansas, South Carolina, or at Auburn. I would say at Auburn because it was on the road.
But Auburn is what, like 4-5, and they just fired their coach.
Yeah, I mean, not good.
It's not. It's not great.
3-5. No, 4-5.
No, they're
Sorry, you're
four and
right.
five. They're
Four and
four
five.
and five. Yeah, so Auburn is 1-5 in their own conference, 4-5, and that's the best win for Yeah. But sorry,
And
this
I
is
and
this
and I
is
get like
going.
people saying that like this doesn't matter and everything, but I'm just gonna tell you, like I went back and looked at a bunch of data today because I tried to give you guys the most accurate college football playoff rankings here in just a second. We'll bring it up in just a second. I went back and looked at a lot of data. Outside of like the top or yeah, like the top 20 for the AP poll in college football playoffs, sometimes top 15, it's pretty much exactly the same. They do it every single year. Once you get out of the top 15, like 16 to 25, it's a little bit more shaken up because typically the college football playoff committee gives more credit to teams that are undefeated like Army. Like if Navy was still undefeated, they would probably have Navy up at like 17. They might still have Navy ranked for all we know. But the fact that they do not give do not give credit to teams at the top, it's because they are just literally looking at the AP poll and say, well, this is how the AP poll has it. We'll switch a couple
Mhm.
teams here and there, right? Last year they switched Ohio State and Georgia, made Ohio State number 2 instead of Georgia because Ohio State lost close at Oregon. But yeah. Anything else in the AP poll before we get to my predictions since I'm already talking about them?
Um, I was just gonna say I was taking a moment to look up the record for SEC wins and losses against other Power Four teams in 2025 because that's a stat that's lorded over everybody else.
Do you know
Um,
what the average FPI of teams that they have beat is?
it's not good.
The
That's what I was
average
looking.
the
Yeah, I was looking
average
for the team.
FPI. I did this last week. So last week, we'll have to see what it's updated as this week. The average FPI of teams that the SEC has beat
Mhm.
56.
Yeah. Well, and so
So great job. You beat Virginia Tech twice. You beat Syracuse. You go out there and beat some terrible ACC teams. You beat Wisconsin. Great job. Great
yeah,
job.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Meanwhile, the Big Ten's out here scheduling an ACC contender in Duke. You have, and I know some people are going to laugh at that. They are like they are an ACC contender right now. They're out here scheduling Texas, scheduling Oklahoma. USC is scheduling Notre Dame every year. We'll see if that continues. But like there are actual good teams that are being scheduled now. Part of it is not the SEC fault. LSU can't control the Clemson sucks. I get that.
Mhm.
But you still can't say that like I'm not saying you're saying this. I'm just saying overall, like you can't say like, well, they're 9-3 against out of conference opponents. Like, okay, but let's look at who those out of conference opponents are.
Right. Well, no, my point is like, yeah, they beat Washington State, which they stink, and also Ole Miss almost lost to Washington State, which is hilarious. Um, they that's or no, they beat Washington State. They beat Arizona State, which that's Mississippi State beating Arizona State. I think actually kind of made things difficult for everybody else
I mean,
because it's
yeah,
like,
but
oh,
Arizona State stinks this season. They don't have Scatterboo.
I know they don't absolutely stink though. Like they're not, and they lost. They
No, but they're
played
not
them with
good.
they played them with the quarterback, and that made it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, Bama beat Wisconsin, Missouri beat Kansas, Auburn beat Baylor. Like for 2 wins against Virginia Tech, a win against Syracuse, a win against Clemson, and then they lost to Florida State, Miami, and Ohio State. So the actual good teams that they played, and not even a good team in Florida State, like every other team they played was either mediocre or just flat out bad. Like it's
Yeah,
just stupid. Like, yes, you beat a bunch of terrible teams out of conference. Good for you. Doesn't mean your conference is God mode.
yeah. And, and I'm not even saying that like we have to say the SEC stinks or anything like that. I'm just saying we have to acknowledge that the SEC and the Big Ten are at the very least on even playing fields.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking for the Big Ten to be recognized to be what the people think the SEC is
Yeah.
because I don't think you can necessarily prove that,
Right.
right? I just it bugs me that there's a 3-loss SEC team that is ranked 23, and every team with 2 or less losses in the SEC is ranked. Meanwhile, Washington just got ranked off a bye. Iowa is still not ranked, and if you rank Illinois, people are like, "Oh, that's stupid." Really? Because ranking Tennessee is pretty stupid too, if that's the case.
It's true.
So